Okay, so what we just did, rather what we just did is your staging mode, right? This particular one. So you're done with this one. You're done with this staging. Are you hearing me? Okay. So you're done with staging, right? And you run it and you can see everything inside your BigQuery tables. Okay. And then open up my phone. Yes. It's funny how I've not even done mine. I was waiting for you. Let me just rush the whole thing. Okay, let me continue from. You can even continue. So after this your staging, the next table is meant to be intermediate, right? But we are not intermediating anything in this project. So we are going directly to our math table. Yeah, we are not joining any tables together, right? So math is a bit more not complicated, but you have to understand dimension modeling in data engineering and analytics engineering. So, one moment. So, you have to understand dimension modeling, which is where you start to hear things like dimensions and facts, fact tables, right? So, here inside math, we have dimensions and then we have facts also. So, if I were to explain this properly, if a fact table is more like your main table or your central table to this. So scroll down here. So let me give an example. Let's say this is your fact table, right? A fact table is usually, um, let's say, is usually larger, right, than your dimensions table. And one idea how you can use to understand your dimension. So right now I'm trying to explain your maths. Your maths is where you start to do your modeling for your end users. Your end users they need a let's say perfect model and easily work with, right? Because of this guys you have to this is where dimension model comes in engineering in general. They use it across the engineering and data analysis. For BI developers, if you use Power BI, you were supposed to have an idea of what dimension modeling is. But do you already have an idea? Okay, okay. So doing it. So in the simplest form, dimension modeling is literally just a star schema, right? And this is the idea of the star schema here, this particular design. So it simply shows that there is a center table, a table in the center, right? And there is now a couple of tables attached to that center table. And the shape it gives is usually in the form of star. That's why they call it star schema. So the idea of your center fact table, right? The center fact table is the fact table usually holds recurring events, right? The common business events or the common, let me just say the common business events in what you're trying to model. So here's an example. If you're working in a shop, right? If you're building or table for a store, the most important events in that store would be purchase, right? People are coming inside to buy it, right? To buy, and that is a very common and current event, right? That's the central event for that store, purchase. Now that idea comes here, and that purchase will be referred to as your fact table, right? It's because it happens. It's not like because it just happens over and over again. It's a transaction. It happens often, right? And then the dimensions to this center table, which is your purchase, are every other information that describes that purchase, right? So if you go to your shop now, you buy something, give your receipt, right? The purchase itself is the transaction, which will be registered in a fact table. Now, everything you see on that receipt can be referred to as information. So you would have the name of that product. The name of the product will be a dimension for that purchase, right? So the product will be stored in a dimension table. It's actually a table of its own. Product table is referred to as dimension. Now, if they registered your information, you registered as a customer, right? And your own information will be stored in a separate table, which is in a customer table. Customer is also a dimension. Now, every other little bit of information in that receipt that you see are still dimensions, are still information about that transaction that was made. Right? So that is the general idea of fact and dimension table. I'll still try and explain it better if you've not gotten have you got if you've not gotten the general idea, I'll still try and explain it better. Right. So okay. So let me use another example. Let me say so a call center, right, or a network provider, their central transaction will be calls, right? Calls made. That will be what is the main event that's happening. So that's I don't know what they'll call it, but maybe calls, something like that. So calls made will probably be the fact table, right? And then for that fact table, you'd have dimensions like caller. So the person that's calling, the person that's making the call, maybe that will be their customers. And then you have the receiver. The receiver will also be a dimension, right? Another dimension could be, let me see, what could be an extra dimension? Another dimension could be the receiver's network. Maybe the guy is in Glo or MTN or something like that. And then the date that call was made. Every other thing stored separately, right? But it will also be stored inside this fact table. So going back inside here. So going inside here now, you would have your main table, right? Your main table would hold for so you have your main table with orders, and this main table is a fact table. Now your main table would hold the item that was purchased, right? It will hold person that bought the the person that bought the item. What else? It will hold the dates the item was bought. It will hold the amount the item was bought. It will probably hold the cashier, the seller, the person at the receiving end that received the money and everything. So let me say cashier. What other information can you? Okay, let me just limit it to these three guys, to this couple of guys. So this is the main order statement. So you hold every information necessary. Then you can now have your dimension table, which will be the customer. So this customer table will hold all the information about that customer that made the purchase, right? So it will have the customer name, probably customer address, um, what else? Customer ID, customer, maybe date of birth, and other important information about the customer. But note, your facts table is not going to hold your others table, right? Is not going to hold all this information about the customer. It's probably only going to hold maybe customer ID. So it's maybe going to hold customer ID, right? So that is the general idea of your fact table. So now anytime you want to filter, you want to filter, right? Use it from this fact table and discover the customer's name. That is where you start to reference your dimensions table. So these are dimension table. They hold information about the main table, right? So this dimension and this is fact. The same thing, the same thing with let's see. Can you see anything? Is it moving now? Okay. So now we have the others. You have your customer table, which is the dimension, and another dimension table can be for the cashier. So maybe the cashier is employees table, and then the table can now hold the employee name, employee ID, employee date of birth, and other employee information. Maybe employee address and the rest. Right. So this employee table is now also a dimension table. It's everything regarding the employee. It's holding information regarding the employee. So if you look at this, these orders only hold relevant information to the order, right? To the item purchase. That is the general idea between dimensions and facts table. Are you with me? Okay. So that is the idea of what is going to be modeled inside DBT. Mm, So over here you can see we have our dimensions model and then we have our facts model. So in our dimension model we have customers, we have products, and we have sellers. The same approach I just demonstrated. And then in our facts table we have other items, we have orders, and we have payments. Now you can see there are also three fact tables here because payment is definitely a recurring. It speaks more to finance, right? To the financial substance. Or payment comes together with orders, but the money has to be um maybe registered separately, right? So orders is kind of the general order that was made. If you go in, if you go into a shop and you buy you buy a you buy soap, you buy detergents, you buy what else? Napkin or other bunch of things together, right? Everything that you bought is an order, right? Or the entire items that you bought is an order. So it's a registered order. Now inside orders, you now have other items. Now other items are the individual orders themselves. So it's just a table that separates it's a table that that and the individual items that were bought for that. So don't try to cram it. Don't try to make it too complicated. It's literally just your facts and dimensions that we are trying to model here. All these are kind of like little details that may differ, that may change, right, between projects. So if you go inside here, if you go to your first, let's go to our first fact order table. This is the SQL code, and you can see we are selecting from orders, right? So this is our staging orders, and then also from staging other items. I feel like I could have done this particular one in an intermediate table. I don't know why I brought it here. Let's just go ahead. I could have done this in an intermediate table. Okay. Yeah. Um, if you see here, I'm joining two tables together, right? So I'm joining staging, I'm joining orders, and then I'm joining other items. So why am I even joining it? Other ID, other items. Okay, items counts to get items counts. Okay, I get now. So it's okay. It's okay with it being here. So what I'm reporting is the order ID, the customer ID, order status, order purchase timestamp, and then an aggregate. So this aggregate is returning the amount of item that were bought for that particular order. Right? So when you run your query, you see everything. Why fact orders is literally every single order, every single item, right? At an individual level, every single item that was bought, right? So the order, the product ID for that item, seller ID, counts, so the quantity of the amount of um that particular item, how many amounts was it bought? Maybe it was zero, or sorry, no, it can't be zero. Maybe one or two or three of that items, right? The price to total item revenue. So sum of all the quantities that were bought, right? And then other little details. Don't focus on the details for now. Don't focus on the SQL query. When you run the model, you see the result there. And we are getting this from our other items, so staging other items. And then also for payments, you can see this is separate. It's just payment to each order, right? So we are selecting orders, and then we are getting the payments value, and then we are reporting this as total payments value and payments count. I don't know why this is here. This is not necessary. So this is just the three facts table that I'll be reporting. So the let me go ahead and do it inside VS Code. Hey, Mr. Ezekiel. Mr. Ezekiel, are you there? Yeah, good evening. So how are we going to do it now? Okay. All right. So we're about to do our maths model, right, which is split into dimensions and facts, which is what I just went over through. So uh, this is the GitHub. This is the project on GitHub. This is the where we are getting all our code. So as usual, we'll start with our schema.ym. that Mrs. Bisola does not like writing. Apparently, I even have more descriptions inside here. So you can literally just copy this and paste it inside the schema.yml. I just advise to always have a schema.yml. Very important to have it in your DBT project. Is a good practice. So earlier on, it just help you start to build um these little habits of doing things properly instead of cutting. So if you don't want to write it, you can just go into the GitHub and copy it through the entire schema that's why my file and paste it inside. One thing that you should change, if you're here, are you hearing me? Okay. So the moment you open up your file and then you copy it and paste it, just look for this thing here. This is not supposed to be inside. So this curly braces doc order status, right? You can just remove that and any random thing you can replace it there and save it. That curly braces there. Else it will give you error. Okay, so Ezekiel, at least since you're here already, what I can show you is this is what we've done so far. Right, we already started building out the entire project. If you gone through the video, it's I posted yesterday. We already started building the entire project, and we are inside our modules. So the last time we were exposed, we just set up our DBT projects. We've gone as far as creating our models folder inside our project. So it's just literally to create a folder, name it models inside it. And we also inserted our raw data inside the but we did that manually. Went to BigQuery, we created the table inside there and then uploaded the CS data, the one that was downloaded, the Olist data set that was downloaded, uploaded it inside the manual. Each one of them. I don't know if you were among uh, yeah, okay, that was before you now left. So we've uploaded it and then we've created our staging models. So if you see our staging models, this is what you will see. You go to the lineage, you would see a connection between the source and then our staging models right inside here. So we just created this is everything is inside the GitHub link. So there's some little adjustment which I feel like I should probably correct. But if you watch the video, you see the little adjustment. This this string and this sort. These are just the two main adjustments. You see change the source and change these types. You would see what's the one that you see. So you see a different value. Let me check. So you would see voucher inside the GitHub link, but it's not when you're pasting it. It's not supposed to be voucher. You're supposed to paste it as a link, a string. Right? If I have time, I'll probably even edit. Yes, we can edit this right inside there. Copy this and changes. Okay, so I've just changed this. I can repeat that for the rest, right? Repeat it for the other ones. So it's just some little adjustments, and you have your staging model set. Then including these two files which I explained. So this source.yml file explains to your DBT project where the source of your data is. So you can see every single one of them. Every single source is specified inside this source.yml file. So this file is a very important file in your project. This is not set properly. So what this simply means is it will tell DBT that, hey, this this model, right, this particular model, where are we getting the data that we are transforming inside here? So this source will specify where you're getting data from. You can see here we have the source and then we have the name of the source. Then inside the name of the source, we have tables. So the tables is the name of our table inside the not open the BigQuery. If you go to BigQuery, all those tables that we are uploading, those are your sources, right? Those are the names of the people inside your raw data set. BigQuery is what you will have as your table name here, the exact same thing. Put a different table name, DBT would not recognize it as a source inside BigQuery. This simply tells DBT this is the name of our table. This is also the name of our table inside. Schema now tells DBT that this is the name of our data set. Remember, you have a broad data set inside BigQuery, and inside that data set, you have all your tables inside. So if you go to BigQuery, let me go to same to BigQuery. Table. So this is what your project looks like, right? You have your data set, and inside that data set, you have your this raw data that's created. So this is the particular data set that DBT would use as your schema in your table sources. And then inside these data sets, you have your tables. These are the tables that DBT is now using as sources, right? So all these customers items, but everything here is what DBT is using as your source, as its source, right? And you have to tell it inside here that those are the particulars using. When you specify this inside here, that is when you now use those sources inside your staging model. So if you see here, this is our first CTE, that's table expression, SQL stuff. Right, so this is our first CTE here, this is our first code. And we are selecting all the columns from our source. And our source is this all this customer table inside here. So you can see we specified from source. So select all from source, our all these raw data sets, which we specified inside sources. So that is our source name, and then inside that source, select from that particular table. So everything is going to return it inside here to give you. Then you now perform a transformation on whatever whatever data that you get inside this all this customer table. That's the entire point there. Okay, so let's continue. So the next thing I wanted to do is our math table. And I explained in our maths we usually use it, we usually perform dimension modeling, which is where we split our tables into dimensions and parts, right? And it just follows a star schema. So a star schema is when you have a table in the center. The star schema is where you have a table in the center and other tables around it that holds information about this main table. So you see it here in practice. So back in our project, we can start with let me see. We can start with our dimensions. So inside here we have our dimension table, like just regular pulling everything from our old staging or customer table, no transformation, but then we just select it and return it inside here. So you can copy with Visual Life since you're following, you can just copy this file and create the exact same thing inside here. So we have dim underscore customers dot sql and paste it inside and save it. Um, ref type package olist version none SCG olist customers. So what is the issue? Fail to render SQL to kind not found page DBT model. Okay, customers. Okay, so that is how we just create. That's how we use and create our dating table. Just copy it and then paste it into this. So next is what is it? Yeah, you can product. Yeah, okay. I'm not saying any. Mm, mm. Okay, paste the code. Just paste the code. Just copy and paste it. If you don't paste the code, then there's no error in particular. Fail to render customers model SCG only customers. Yeah, that is the same error that I had. So the staging model is not, there's no S in your customers, it's just customer. And check it. So you save that, it should work. So it's just naming stuff. Yeah. Do you want to rename it? It's not really, just put your, I mean, just name it customers. Continue with customers. Since it's a table of customers. Okay. Mm, yeah. Yeah. Mm. Fortunately for us, the data is clean, right? So the purpose, all these things, there are stages to learning, right? I'm using a completely data, and I'm not focusing on cleaning, or you can see I'm not even telling you learn this SQL. I'm literally just giving copy and paste. My purpose here is for you to understand the entire process of modeling DBT projects in general. So we are just going through beginning and end to the end of the DBT project. So I don't stock up a bunch of things in the middle, right, and make projects explode. So we are not doing any cleaning yet in this project. If you look at it, so let me just give you an idea. So these are this. the data itself clean, yeah, clean from the start. Now, if your data is definitely, if your source data is definitely going to be dirty, right, it's going to be terrible, then yes, you can now start writing SQL inside. Remember, I said your staging model is for clean, it's for clean and rename and all those little things. So that is when you start writing transformation logic inside to clean all this. So this, look at this. This is a very simple. Maybe this is not what you'll be doing in real life. It's way more complicated than this. You have one very long script, one very long performing. Okay, so this that's it with our dimensions table. Now we can go ahead to our fact table. Since it's going to be the same process, I think there's much to explain here. So just go copy the paste inside. This is other items. So if you notice in your models, you have this dim, fact, and SCG here, right? They are just naming conventions, standard naming conventions when you're creating your project. You should just have them specified at the beginning so that anybody that sees your model, if the person sees it, if I'm seeing your VS Code now, I look inside there and see dimension. Yes, I understand that this is a dimension. But what if I'm looking at it inside VS Code, inside BigQuery? I literally can't see if it's a dimension or not. So it's just going to be your naming convention that you use that will tell me, okay, this is a staging code model. Right? If I see this, I cannot say, yeah, this is a staging model. This is a dimension, right? You can have in intermediate, you have INT, and then you now say, okay, this is an intermediate model. So this prefix here is not just for design; it has a function naming. So just one thing to note, right? So to continue with the rest, staging other items. By 9, yeah, that's when our class ends. It's just like you there. She will do copy and paste. I know you will do copy and paste. uh, just those two. Um, even, uh, that one is good enough to carry places. The basic stuff is good enough. Even me personally, yeah, personally, I never even liked Excel. So now I don't like it. Mm. It gets a little bit complex, as you go deeper and deeper. But anyways, with AI you can learn it easily. If you repeat it over and over again, just you figure out what is going figure out what is going on. So are you done with this one? With the facts table? Okay, so if you run your project, you can even literally like how do I put it? You can view your data, the outcome from inside VS Code here. You will see preview CTE, right? If you click on that preview CTE, you would see the results of that particular data, of that particular CTE. What is CTE again? I think column table expression. Is it that? CTE meaning. Yes. Common table expression. Yeah? Register what? What are we registering? Let me see it too. I don't remember registering in my. Maybe I did. I'm not sure. I don't think I registered anything. I'll I'll tell you why it is not. Just one. Preview city is without running your film register to on oh, just asking that. Okay, now register. Let's see. Huh? I just register. Let's see what it will say. Yeah, yeah, I can see it. I wanted to collect seal to take a break. I want to do, but my mom won't do. Yes, please continue. Open. What? I think you did it when you do account. Okay. Thank you. Oh, Iman, Just help me put stew inside. It's meat. Log into DBT. No, don't, it's not supposed to ask you for login because I don't think it's asked me for login. Now, why is he always asking too much things? I don't remember doing all this, but just go on. Right, just go. I don't think it will take anything. No, it's okay. Are you one of those people that manually generates password? All my password is auto-generated. Any day I lose my Google account, I'm cooked. Okay, so hopefully that works. This will continue. Yeah, already have what is this problem? Can go back to VS Code. Let's see. I think it's that time that you created query results image. Yeah, try and maybe there is login, so just try and log continue. Alright. No, don't worry, don't do that. Let me check if there's any alternative. I'm not registered. Yeah, I think I registered. So go back to VS Code. Go back to VS Code. Let me check something. So VS Code. Although your project is already done, I just want to make sure. Um, go into go into your DBT extension. That DBT extension is shining red button at the left bottom DBT extension. So click on it. Let me see. It's not opening. Okay, click on the extension by the left, the one by the left. Or those icons, that DBT icon by the left. Up where all this Python, Kinikon, yeah, the last one down. The one down. No, see, you see this Python logo here down. So take your cursor down. Yeah, so the next one, DBT, click on it. Okay, DBT, blah blah. Get started. Okay, so I actually scroll down. Let me scroll. Okay, I actually registered it. But why is it not saying you should? I don't see. Leave us one. Why is it not saying you should? Jesus, you're downloading something. You went to go and click something to download. Cancel it. Cancel all this. Cancel all this. Huh? You don't really need it. I didn't even install mine, so you don't need it. And just close click in your terminal. Click inside. Click inside your terminal. Whether yeah, click inside it. Then Control C to cancel it. Click Control C to cancel that download. So I think they need you to sign in before you're able to use that view city. But I don't know why it's not telling you to register if you already have an account with them. You know that account is from when you were working in that DBT labs. Okay, go to it's already 9. Let's just do this one now. Let's just do this one. Go to your um go to your is it Explorer you're using or Chrome? Whichever one you use. Yeah, so go to that DBT website. Okay, you were opening it it was opening in Explorer. That is why it's not saying what your registered account. No wonder. Copy. You can go sorry, don't get after this we just want to settle this. Say the same thing. Yeah, close it and go direct to dbt.com. Let's see if you've signed to the website. See,